Hey folks, welcome to Brew and View Episode 1. I'm Joe James, aka Prodigy. This is my portion of the deck building videos. Dan and I are solicited ideas about just different ideas that we can make for deck restrictions. We got a lot of really good feedback, and we both already we put out a video where we each went through our process for which decks we were going to choose, and I ended up going with the vague restriction of control points on dudes, which I believe there's a couple people that suggested it, but mostly it'll last Walter here, yeah. Obviously this is something that Sloan has always been really good at, especially with Alley Hensman. Original Sloan Gang and Desolation Row, those are both pretty common for control points on dudes. But I don't know that it's, at least I don't think I've explored it much beyond what you typically see with those examples. So that's kind of what I want to go with for the first deck. And I didn't want to do the Alley or the Sloan thing. I wanted to do something different. So that's kind of the general category that I'm going for. I know sometimes when I build decks I'll go for a strategy or a general concept like that. Another concept I've done that I had a lot of success with was I just want a lot of really cheap dudes, so I just looked up a bunch of dudes that cost one or two and threw them in a deck, and that's how it got started that way. This way I'm going to go control points on dudes. So you could also do something like even a draw structure as your basic concept. So I just want to have a straight flush deck out of clubs because I love playing lots of actions and shootouts, and that's a lot of fun. So that's another good way to start. You could build your deck around even just a simple card. I think at some point I want to build a deck around Siege of the Orphanage. This card just looks like it can be a lot of fun. Don't see it played a whole lot. I think if you build around it, it can be pretty powerful. So I think at some point I'll probably build around just a single card, and no idea where that's going to go, but for now we're going with control points. So the first thing I did was I went to the Doomtown database, click on cards, and then I just want to find every card that has the text in it of control point, which also includes cards that say control points, so it'll get both of them. And this is a total mess here. I don't care about sort by name, so I want to sort it by type so I can see all the different suits, the outfits, deeds, and whatnot all together. So this is where I'm going to start. I don't really care so much about deeds. The homes that are more relevant would be the Sloan Gang, Protection Racket, Desolation Row. I don't want to do any of this, the Outlaws. This is just a temporary control point, so it's not that interesting to me. This shuts off control points, don't really care. This puts control points on deeds. I'm trying to get away from deeds with control points. I'm going to go with the 3 value structure probably, so I'm definitely going to have some deeds in there, but it's going to be very not emphasized, I guess. So I don't care about any of these deeds really. So I'll start looking at dudes. So what I did was I went into another tab, went to my decks, clicked on a deck. At first I thought I might go with Desolation Row, so I just picked that, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to put a bunch of cards together that I kind of think are interesting that I might want to build around. So what I did was I went through all here, picked some dudes that looked like they could be interesting, picked some hearts, some goods, and some spells that look like they could be interesting. Adler's Needle's a new one that looked really like a lot of fun. Corporeal Twist, I've never played this before, but that's the perfect card for this. Then there's Fiery Rhetoric is a pretty decent one. Those aren't permanent, but you can get a lot at once. Sentinel is a good one. A Fight They'll Never Forget is also a pretty good one. Get some potentially rack up multiple control points in a shootout. So I just went through, thought what I thought was interesting, put them all in a deck. That ended up being these cards here. I could get into why I didn't pick some of the other ones, but either I'd played them a lot or they just didn't seem particularly interesting at that time. So I thought this was a pretty good start. So it looks like there's at least 3 different concepts here. One of them kind of revolving around gadgets. So you could have Roberto, Technological Exhibition, and then Hellstrom. So that would be a pretty fun way to build around. Another one was Blessed. You got Sentinel, Fiery Rhetoric, and then also on value with Sentinel was Old Fashioned Hang, and you could really get some bounty and some control points going that way. That'd be a good way to go. I've done a lot of gadgets and miracles lately, so I thought I would go with. I thought I would not go with those two. Third option, though, that really stood out to me was Corporeal Twist, Summoning, Adler's Needle, and Essence of Armitage. All these kind of fit together with a Hex Abomination type theme. So I thought that would be cool to go with. I haven't really played really any of these 4 cards, so it sounded like a lot of fun. So obviously we're going to go with Abominations and Hucksters. So really that kind of leaves us with the 4th ring, or the Fearmongers as they're now called. So could go with Oddities, or we could go with Full Moon Brotherhood. I guess any of the homes could potentially work. Not the Railroad one, but really I was thinking about either Oddities or Full Moon Brotherhood. Oddities are an obvious choice for Abominations, but let's make a new deck right now. So we got Oddities in Nature, Full Moon Brotherhood. This could be good. I guess since I'm not having I'm having Hucksters as well. I'm not going to have all Oddities in my deck, so I don't necessarily. This isn't an obvious choice, but we'll go with it for now. We can always change it. So quickly, I want to get my. Let's get those cards in there that I clicked on. So we want Corporeal Twist, Summoning, Adler's Needle, Essence of Armitage. Throw those in a deck. It looks like we're going to have, let's see, 5s. Corporeal Twist. I'm probably going to want a decent amount of those because I can have better odds of getting them in the deck or getting them on the board, and then even if I get multiple out, I can get potentially multiple control points. So that sounds pretty cool. I don't know if I want 4, probably want at least 3. And then, what are we going with? Summoning. I don't know how many of those we're going to have, 1 or 2 maybe, we'll see. I just want to get it on the deck so I can kind of see what this is looking like. And then Kings is obviously, that's looking like that's going to be one of our values. So Essence of Armitage and Adler's Needle. Okay. So we got these 4 cards going for us. I want at least 3 of these, so I think 5 is a pretty natural option. I probably just want to go with a 3 value. I'm not going to have a ton of deeds with control points, so this isn't going to be the kind of deck that just sits back and builds up, so I want it to be pretty tightly structured. I want to be able to shoot right from probably at least turn 1, maybe turn 2 at the latest. It's going to be a very aggressive deck, so I want it to be a tight structure. I'm probably going to go with 3 values, so I want a bunch of these, so 5s are definitely going to be what I want to go with. So what's the difficulty here? Difficulty is 4. Summoning difficulty is 5. That's perfect. So if I go 5, I can make all my pulls with even a huckster 0. So, are there any 5s that stand out? I want to be shooty. I also want to have, maybe like pistol whip and maybe some cheat and punishment with your Huckleberry. I don't know, I'm just kind of throwing things together at this just to kind of see what it looks like. Kings are definitely going to be a value. I think I want at least 2 of these. These are unique, but I want to increase my chances of getting them on the board. This one is not... This is also unique, but I don't know if it's as important. Definitely want to have at least 1 in the deck. So one thing about having 5s is I have the option for Doomsday Supply, so that essentially can be anything I want it to be. So if I only have 1 essence, I basically have 2 on the deck with Doomsday Supply, and then I have essentially 3 Adler's Needles with Doomsday Supply as well, so I think this is a pretty good combo for this. Let's see, Kings. Maybe I don't know if I want to go with what kind of Kings are going to be on the board, but before I start going any further, I should probably start looking at starting posse. So let's sort it by... I only want to see Fearmongers because I can't start anybody else. Fearmongers and Drifters. I do know if I want Hexes, Valeria is going to be a good choice. And if you weren't sure about what we have for either Abominations or Hucksters, we can just go to the search. Let's see keywords. Definitely want to start at least a couple of Abominations. Let's see what we have for Abominations. And I want to sort it by gang because I don't care about other gangs' Abominations. Okay, so we got Eve. These guys are not really great starters. Oh, this guy's on 5. This guy's an 8. Hell's coming with me. This guy would be fun, but he's not out yet. Funtime Freddy. He's an Abomination and a Huckster. That is perfect. He's definitely going to be a starter. Got the best of both worlds there, and he's a stud. Let's close that. What else do we have? Carl's not great unless everybody in play as an Abomination. He is on value though, so maybe we'll just have him in the deck. Pagliaccio is always a good choice. Brut's always a good choice to start. One of my favorite new guys though, where is he? Skinwalker. He's got an influence that's going to help out a lot. So I think let's go with Skinwalker for now. Can always change this up, of course, later, but Skinwalker starting. Valeria starting. What do we got? Oof, we only have 2 influence so far, but we do have 7 wealth, 2 income. Don't want any more dudes with upkeep, because that's just going to hurt. I think one upkeep is a good place to start. So we have 2 Hucksters and 2 Abominations. So let's think about Corporeal Twist. This, we want to get dudes, a certain dude discarded or aced. There's a fantastic guy. Black Owl fits perfectly with that. I can make sure that the first casualty they take is the dude that I target with Corporeal Twist. So that's a great combination. Let's put that in there as a starter. So I was thinking about, if I'm on 5s and kings, I was thinking maybe my third value would be 7s for pinned down, but if I have Black Owl, I don't necessarily need that. So what are we at? We're at 4 wealth, 2 income, 3 influence. Technically, if we're in the town square, we can have more influence. But if I'm doing stuff like summoning, let's see, what do we have for kings? I'm probably going to want some Election Day slaughters. Need some sort of way to force fights, otherwise all my control point shootout actions are kind of worthless. So I want at least 2 of those. Looks like I'm starting with at least 3 studs, so point blank might be good. I don't know if I want to do 3 and 1 or 2 and 2. It really depends on what you expect. If you expect decks that are going to be more aggressive, you don't need as many of these, whereas, you know, if you're fighting a more deck that likes to stay at home, you might want to bump up your ratio of these guys. But let's just do 2 and 2 for now. So between summoning and this, we're going to be going home. So I guess trying to pick a third value was my hardest decision. I did end up deciding that I thought queens would be good because one thing I'm doing here is I'm getting rid of bullets and value. Well, what am I going to do if they have bullets and value? Bullets is always good, but what am I going to do? Can I capitalize on that -2 value? And immediately I thought about Soul Blast, which takes their grit, so this is essentially a -3 on their grit, and it also potentially gets me a control point. So if I'm going to be in a shooty aggressive deck, Soul Blast is perfect. So with that in mind, if I do have, I'm going to end up having some diamonds on the table. Hopefully most of them won't have control points. Let's see, for 5s, we have Epitaph Branch Office is actually perfect for this theme because this allows me to get control points on my dudes. Unfortunately, it has a control point itself. Basically, I don't want to have to contest my deeds if at all possible, so, but this one I'll make an exception for. Longstride's Ranch, I'd love to split up their dudes. Out of Town is perfect for this because no control points and gives me income. If they do go out to deny it, then that's one less dude I have to worry about. Oregon Mining Company also has no control points. I like that. Basically, the fewer control points I have on my side of the board, the less likely they are to take it over and steal a win from me. Looks like I'm either going to be at 3 or 4 influence, which is pretty low to start. So maybe that's another reason I decided I thought queens might be good, because I can do Ranger's Bible. Might help a little bit with influence. And then, of course, Blood Curse is always fantastic. I could Blood Curse a dude. Let's say I have this deed right next to my home. If I do a job and I go home, they take over my deed, I can potentially Blood Curse the dude that's there to keep it under my control and not let them seal a quick win. I guess that's one thought. And if I'm going away from the town square after a job, I don't get that influence, so I gotta be careful there. Let's see, what's a good cheapest way to get some influence? I guess would be Jake Smiley. So I would be looking at 2 wealth, 2 income. That's a little bit on the low side. And then I only have 2 abominations, which isn't too bad. They're not crucial. Now it's looking like less and less like I'm going to be doing oddities here. So basically my options are I could either do oddities and maybe throw in Jake Smiley. Well, I could throw in any abomination really. Or I could do Full Moon Brotherhood, but then I would definitely want to have Jake Smiley. So let's do something a little different, I guess. I've played oddities before. I think Black Owl and Corporeal Twist and Adler's Needle especially play really well into the Full Moon Brotherhood. So if I can target a dude, force them to be the casualty, I can force the same guy that I target with blood, the Full Moon Brotherhood, to be the casualty. Yeah, this looks like a pretty good synergy here. I don't get the influence from being in the town square, but I guess I could start Jake Smiley. I don't know. Oh, this also gives me an extra Ghost Rock, which is great. So if I start him, we're looking at 5 influence, 3 wealth, 2 income. That's pretty respectable. With two hucksters, and then 2 abominations. I want to be able to boot at least one of my abominations and Black Owl when I get into a shootout, but I think that's good. As long as I have some hucksters and other abominations in the deck, I think that should be pretty good. Then I don't have to worry about losing turn 1 or turn 2 because I only have 3 influence. So, alright, this is looking good for now. So if we're going with kings, let's look at what deeds we have for kings. Out of town, this is my favorite out of town deed. Let's get at least a couple of those. Unfortunately, that also has a control point, but that splits up their dude if they go out to take it. I think everything else pretty much has control points, unfortunately. This is a 3-2 deed. That's pretty good. What I am thinking is, well, let's see what we have for queens. I think all those have control points too. I gotta keep my structure intact, so I have to have some of these. So maybe go with a couple general stores. Basically, I just want to be able to increase my chances to get one of these on the board. I don't really care about any of these other guys. I just really want to get these on the board. Well, we can always pare this down later. I guess let's just go with the 3-2 just for the economy's sake. And then I definitely want a Jackson Strike off value. What other out-of-town deeds do I want off value? Blake Ranch is a good one, off value. Let's see, what are we looking at? 10 diamonds. It's a little on the low side. Maybe I can double up on one of these guys. This isn't a great economy ratio because I'm not going to be having any horses, but as long as I can get 2 or 3 income going, I think we'll be good. We'll revisit deeds later. I think got a couple off value. That's okay. We're going to have a few off value in this deck. So let's start looking at the dudes. Let's get them all in there just so we can see. So what do we have for abominations? Now we can sort by value. So all we care about are the 5s. Carl's a good one. Yeah, maybe even Hamshanks. Those are the only 2 options. I mean, he'll be a 1 upkeep, but he's a pretty solid dude. And if we have summoning, hopefully that'll help with the cost of those dudes. So, alright, let's look at 5s. Hamshanks. And Carl. If I'm on 5s and I'm playing Soul Blast, Christine Perfect is perfect. Anybody else on 5s that stand out to me? Mr. Quimby, I can ace some guys to give him a permanent influence. Yeah, maybe. I don't have a whole lot of super cheap expendable abominations, so he's probably not the best. If I need another cheap dude, I can just throw in Travis. But let's look at queens then. What do we got? We got Eve. Definitely put her in. She's pretty solid. Smiling Tom's an abomination and a huckster. Unfortunately, he's expensive, but he's both, so that's pretty perfect. Let's put those two in. Smiling Tom and Eve. Smiling Tom and Eve. Any other queens that stand out? Let's see. Another thing we should be looking for is hucksters. Sort by value. So for 5s, we have Slade. He's kind of expensive. This guy's really expensive. Maybe Slade, potentially. So what do we got for queens? Nicodemus. Oh, that's a huckster, and it gets control points on my dudes, so that's pretty on theme. Let's get Nicodemus in there. What else do we have for queens? We have no. I'm not gonna do out of faction. That's way too much money. Geomain. This is all about conditions. This is just too expensive. That just doesn't seem to fit. I guess Smiling Tom and Nicodemus will be good enough. Plus Eve, that gives us, let's see, that gives us 3 queens. That's good. Okay, let's go look at kings. Obviously we're playing abominations, so basically an auto include. It's going to be either experienced 1. Pretty fantastic. I think I want at least 2 of those in there. What else do we have? We got Ivor. Tix, do I really want him? He's just too expensive. I guess I could get him out with summoning, but all these cards I'm putting in are just too expensive. Any hucksters on King? Valeria. Hey, we're starting Valeria. We should probably put her in. She could potentially go on the board for free. Just adds an upkeep. Lillian. It doesn't look like any other good options for hucksters. So where's Valeria? So we got 3 kings. It's pretty good for now, I think. I don't know if there's any off-value abominations I should put in there. Maybe like a Bobo. Also synergy with hucksters. Might not be a bad include. Let's see if we have room for him though. What are we looking at right now for cards? 48. We only have room for 4 more cards. Yikes. We haven't even put any queens in yet. So maybe we're done right there. What do we got for queens on clubs? So I think when I was going through this initially, I thought no turning back would be pretty awesome. Ace, an abomination, get him back with Ivor experienced, and then I also thought my cheating resolutions were looking a little low. If I want to be aggressive, so far I only have these 2 plus these two. And then I also thought how if I have, let's say I don't have a great shootout, either I'm down a rank or it just goes pretty badly, I would like to at least, so if I lose the shootout, potentially all these corporeal twists that I cast go to waste, and then I thought queens are perfect to ensure that I get the casualty I want with taking you with me. I think that works out really well, so I don't know. I could probably sacrifice a no turning back, or at least one. It's not what you know. I think this is really good with Black Owl. I think I want two of these. And maybe there's a different ratio here, but I think that's pretty good. If I put a Ranger's Bible on a dude, at most they're going to be 2 influence. It's not a very good cheat and resolution, so maybe I don't really need the influence. I'm starting out at 5, so I think I will go down to at least one of these and then add another cheat and resolution that I know is on Queen, which you can do a search for, but I'm pretty familiar with those. Soul Cage is a pretty good one. I think that'll be a really good cheat and resolution to have. Put that on the board. You can use that every turn. Extra chance to find it with Doomsday. 1, 2, 3. I only have 3 clubs for cheat and resolutions. It's kind of on the low side. Not super happy with that. But I do have 2 more. 5 total isn't too bad for a deck. I think I'm okay with that for now. If I play it a little bit and see that I need to increase the cheat and resolutions, I can always do that. I do have some shootout tricks with Pistol Whip and Point Blank. This is pretty awesome with Point Blank. So I have a 0 stud, so I can use a 1 stud with Point Blank, or I can bump him up to a 3 stud and use him as Point Blank, as long as I boot somebody else to use him. So Point Blank should be pretty good. Let's see, how are we looking for economy? We got the 2 income. I don't have the economy from the Oddities of Nature, but I do have Full Moon Brotherhood, so I can potentially get 2 Ghost Rock from that. Even if I lose the shootout, I can potentially force Black Owl to choose that dude and then do Taking You With Me. So that can be, this isn't guaranteed income by any means, but can certainly help out. I mean, I do have one, see a lot of these things are really expensive, 2s and 3s and 1s and 2s and 2s, yeah. All my dudes are actually pretty expensive, so I'm definitely going to need some good economy here. I guess summoning does help with that. I was considering putting Grime in here as well, just to help get my, I don't have a ton of hexes, but just to help them get them on the table, but I don't think I can afford that with my economy. Grime is here, he increases the cost. I just don't think I can afford that, especially with my low starting. I'm either starting with 4 or 6 if I win low ball, so I think we're pretty good here. If I play this a few times, I see that my economy really just starts to suck on average. Maybe I'll take out a couple cards somewhere and maybe put some more out-of-town deeds in here. In fact, maybe I'll do that right away. 11 is a little low for all my expensive cards. I think maybe just having 1 summoning might be good enough. Let's bump up Jackson's strike. I really want to be able to get that on the board. So I think this is looking pretty good as it is. We can always add a couple jokers. We can always adjust things as we play it more. Control points. So one thing you can do after you make your deck, you kind of want to see how things are going to go. You can do a couple test draws. Let's just see how the first turn or two is going to go. So I'm going to be starting with 4 or 6. Let's draw opening hand and low ball and kind of see how it goes. So low ball, I only have 1 pair. I think usually when I do this test, I figure I got 1 pair or less, I'm probably going to win low ball. Otherwise, let's just assume I lose. So in this, I'm actually starting with 6, which is pretty awesome. Which, hey, I got great out-of-town deed there. So I put that on the board for sure. Maybe I'll put this on the board. Or maybe I'll save up for a mining company for next turn. Do I have anything I really need with Doomsday Supply? Maybe I'll can only get goods with that. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll play this, play something, discard a card, get a couple cards in my hand. So yeah, we're looking pretty good by turn 2. We got some shootout tricks, got some economy going. Let's do it again. Oh great, we got out of town deeds even if we lose low ball, which we won't because we have a king high, pair of 5s, probably going to win that one. Put that on the board again. Yeah, things are looking good. Got good economy. We got a corporeal twist. We got shootout action there. That'll go good with Black Owl. Yeah, we're looking good. So what happens if I draw no deeds? Looking like we're getting pretty good deeds here. Okay, here's a good example where I might be screwed. High cost dudes, high cost things here. Let's see, did I win low ball? Probably won low ball. Only got a pair, which helps. So if I have 6, maybe I'll put one of these on the board. I always want to make sure I save at least 3 or 4. Make sure I can pay for if I do draw a deed. So I'll probably play one of these, discard 1, which means draw 2. Okay, so we ended up getting a couple of deeds by turn 2, so that's not bad. So I think we're doing alright here. We got a shootout trick there. Not bad, not bad. So things are looking pretty good. So obviously the best test is to play this, so I guess I'll kind of cut it here. It's gone a little longer than I thought it would, but that's pretty much how I go with at least with when I pick a concept and go for the generic concept and build a deck around that. Sure, there's a lot of different ways you could do it, but I make heavy use of searches when I need to. If you're not as familiar with the game, you'll be using that a lot more, but there's a lot of ones that I just happen to know off the top of my head. So search is your best friend. I use it all the time. Card draw simulator is a lot of help I've found. If I found them consistently not able to play anything because I just don't have the economy, maybe I'll adjust things there. You can always play out your first turn or two. And yeah, actually this is looking pretty fun. I guess the next step is I'll be playing it against Dan and seeing how it goes. So I guess that'll be the next video after this, combined with Dan's deck building video as well. So I guess we'll see ya there. Take it easy, guys.